The schedule is, and because I know you're worrying about your team, because I would be too. Um, Kind of put that to the side, and we'll talk about that so you can understand why this and that, and we've got if you don't mind signing, getting one of each, and if you got questions at the end, I'm gonna try to go through everything. And I did say this meeting might last an hour. It may not. It might last 30 minutes. I just wanted y'all to be prepared for it maybe to last that long if you got questions and stuff that hopefully I'm able to answer at this time, because there's things, as you know, everything's always changing. We think we got something solidified, and all of a sudden I get a new email like I just got one a while ago, and it changes everything. So, like I said, if you got any questions when I'm done, I may be able to answer pretty much all of them going through this list. But if I don't, and if I'm able to answer it, if you want to stay afterwards, or you just want to ask a question to go to the order, do so. But we'll go through everything, and like I said, it's just very confusing time, and hopefully we can get our athletes and get our coaches back on the field, back on the courts, and be ready to play. Because I'm ready to start doing some stuff. It's tough. We had a conference meeting Monday. Had a conference meeting Monday. It lasted about 4 hours. Everything was still not decided, so we've been going back and forth with phone calls as well and emails, and because everybody's got their own opinions, and at the same time we've got to do what's right for the conference, and then there's conference voting. So even though I may vote on something and something I truly am firm on and believe on, 4 other ones don't believe that, well, too bad. I'm too bad for Clinton High School. That's just how it works. So when we get to that point about why this, why that, no, a lot of times it's voted on a conference decision, and sometimes you win those, sometimes you don't, and you just have to do the best you can. Just going through the meeting agenda. Following protocol and guidelines, paperwork. We've started some of our sports already through the summer, and we're continuing to do these sports. I'm doing soccer right now, trying to do it a couple of times a week. We couldn't practice today because of the weather, but I know volleyball's been doing stuff. I know Coach Johnson in football, they've been meeting 3 times a week, maybe 4, and they've been doing stuff, splitting up their practices. I see cross country out there running. I see some basketball doing some stuff, and if I miss anybody, I'm sorry, but we're heading in the right direction. As you know, the High School Athletic Association have changed the phases, which we can have 25 indoors and 50 outdoors, which really helps us with our grouping and our pods, not having to chop it up 3 different times and you'd be out here 3-4 hours. So that's helped out a lot. But the protocol and guidelines, we need to make sure we're following that. It can't be what you want to do. It's got to be what needs to be done, which means you got to clean your equipment. You've got to keep your athletes 6 feet away. You've got to make sure they're sanitizing. You've got to make sure you're doing temperature checks. You've got to make sure, I know a lot of people, including myself, has got a chart up there with the 10 questions. You've got to make sure you're checking off these sheets, because we never know when North Carolina High School Athletic Association is going to come to my office and say, hey, I need to see your paperwork. I know you've been working, doing practicing for the last 3 months. I ain't got it. Now, big time trouble. So you've got to make sure you're keeping up that paperwork and you're following the guidelines and the protocol the correct way. Not your way sometimes, the right way. So when I'm sending you emails and I'm aggravating you with all these emails, make sure you please read them and do what I ask you to do. Because what happens is I get an email from them and immediately I try to send it to you guys so you know what's going on. So those guidelines and those protocols, they may change next week again. Maybe we'll be on phase 3. Maybe we'll go back to phase 2. Nobody knows right now. It's a changing week. But please don't try to have gray area. Do it right. That's going to help you out, hopefully help our school out, help our community out in the long run, because we don't want to be in a situation where, hey, it's time to cancel our sports program because we got so many people on our team or our coaches got it, and we're in trouble. We follow the protocol, there's a better chance we're going to be safe. Number 3, schedules. As you know, there's schedules I've given to you. Those schedules right now are not in stone. They are, I would say they're 90%. I just got an email a while ago. They may change a little bit. You may be asking yourself in your brain right now, why this, why that? Why we got to play on Christmas break? You go get it from mamas and dads. Why we got to play during Easter break? You got to. Because there's nowhere to fit these games in. Absolutely nowhere. Why we ain't going to be here. I'm going to be on vacation. You're going to have to figure something out. Because those games, for example, I think we got volleyball games December, I'm just throwing it out, December 21st, maybe one to 28th, something like that. Those games are scheduled games with our conference. I believe we've got something during spring break where we're playing some baseball games and stuff and some soccer games. Those are not going to be moved. They can't be. There's nowhere to put them. And you might not be understanding that, and your parents are definitely not going to understand it, and you're going to have some, well, they're just going to have to know that. That's going to be my job, to send that information out to the whole community on a video and let them know what's going on, how that's going to work. So just understand that. Look at, when you're looking at your schedule and you're not understanding why we have to play this and that time and these dates, it's a conference decision, and when you spend 7-8 hours on it in one day, there's just no other ways. I mean, I was trying to play with it today. There's no way to do it. This is the only way you can do it. You only get 14 games, and you only can play 2 a week, and this is the only way it can be done. Because if you throw in like a conference tournament, and some conferences are able to do that, we're not, because we have 7 teams. And when you got a 7-team conference, that means everybody has 2 weeks where it's open. Now, when you're playing, for example, baseball and soccer and softball, and you're playing those games on Tuesday, Friday, and you got an open whole week, that's just how it worked out. So you might be upset and don't understand, well, why am I the final week of the season? That's how the conference, that's how it came about. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, I got a whole week during spring break. Well, good for you. that could be a plus for you. So I'm going to do my best. We got plenty of time. I've been in contact with coaches nonstop for a week to try to fill some of those games. So if you got open dates right now, I'm still looking. I'm still talking. But my job is to find another a 7-team conference, and them to find me, and their open date is the same week. That's going to be difficult. Very difficult. So it could be a situation where you only play 12 games. It might happen. You might get lucky and get 13. But just be prepared for that and understand that. It's a different time. It's a different year. If you have any questions about the schedules later on, let me know. But like I said, do not share those schedules with your players now. I'm going to email you all of them. Okay, when I know it's in stone and it's right, and we've maneuvered here and that, and maybe I've added a non-conference or 2 non-conference games for you. So hey, this is just for you. Do not put it on NC Preps or Max Preps yet, or here players, here's our schedule. Nothing, until it's finalized with our conference president, this is probably going to be it, or a lot of it, but it can change. Okay. Our schedule, once again, our non-conference game, the easiest thing for me to do was to schedule Hopton. So we got Hopton pretty much for everything. Hopton for volleyball, soccer, basketball, baseball, softball. And he called me today, and I got to get in touch with him again. We may be getting in touch with him. He might have some games open, because he said their conference is going back and forth like crazy and changing, and there may be some open dates for other games, possibly with them. North Carolina High School athletic requirements for all. I just sent you another email. Once again, I get information from the state And when I get that information from the state, I give it to you immediately so you don't get behind, so I don't get behind in my paperwork. I've got due dates, so when I send you, please get this done on February whatever or July whatever, it needs to get done. Everybody's busy. Everybody's got things going on, and I know you sometimes you got a different schedule than everybody else. And if there's an issue where you're not able to do it, just let me know. But I have got to get these due dates done. When when they're asking for rules clinics or NFHS Learn stuff, these things are due. So sometimes I set that due date a lot earlier so I'll know I'll get it back. So just, make sure we get our requirements in. I sent you 4 videos. Please watch those videos. It can save your season, meaning eligibility, grades, meaning residence, meaning there's a lot of information on there. All the requirements that are needed for your athletes and paperwork. It can save you. It can save your season, because the worst thing I want to happen is you're 5-0 or you're 4-1 and this is one of the best years you have, or you're on the bubble of making the playoffs and daggone it, he didn't turn this in, or Johnny's not living where he said he was living, and we got to see was he lying about where he was living and stuff like that. And that can hurt you. It can come back to haunt you. And we're not liable for those situations, but if Johnny's lying about it or Susie's lying about it, we're okay. But if we know about it, that's when we're in trouble. If we find out Johnny or Samantha is falsifying where they live or whatever the case may be, and we don't do anything about it, then we're wrong. Does that make sense? But once we do something about it, we're fine, because you can't go in everybody's house and see if they're living where they're supposed to be living. Okay? And we sure don't need to be hunting for it either, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So please do your requirements. Watch those videos, because I got a new email 2 days ago from the state saying we've got a crash course that you got to complete now. You've got to do it. The parents has got to do it. It's a concussion crash course, and the coaches got to do it. Parents, coaches, players have to do it. So I'm gonna have a sheet for you. Do I have that sheet? I've got that sheet for you. So when you watch that video, and don't stress about it now, because we got to November 4th with volleyball, cross country, but your players have got to sign that with their parent and another sheet of paper bring back to me. I thought I had all this clear with Family ID, but it's too late now, because we already got Family ID program in there. So that's just one sheet you're going to have to turn back into me, and or a physical. Okay? And no paper, no play. No paper, no coach. It ain't hard. All you got to do is pressure your kids a little bit. It works every single time. I'll hand out my papers, for example, to my soccer team. Say, guys, I need this back. One person doesn't bring it back, everybody on the team's got a nightmare. Everybody. Now, he'll bring it back the next day, because the next day they'll run again. So not just the person that didn't bring the paper, everybody. So you can get those papers in. So, that's one thing you have to do with a concussion crash course. It's like a 14-minute video. Now, like I said, we can't see if the parent or the players really watched it. If they've signed that form, they say they have. Does that make sense?
Now, with this, the coach have to sign every single paper?
No. You just give me one that says coach.
Okay.
Good question. Family ID, coaches, players, parents. This is not an option. If I've sent you an email or I've let you know I need for you to get on Family ID and you hadn't done it, I don't know why. Get on it. It takes 5-10 minutes maybe for a coach to complete. Your players have to do it. 100% they have to do it. This is the new paperwork now that you don't have to worry about collecting so much from. And it saves your butt and it saves my butt. Because when the state asks for this and that, we've got it. It lets me know so-and-so's too old. It lets me know so-and-so is living where he says he's living because it's right there. It lets me know so-and-so has passed these classes. So it's great information. It's a lot easier on me and it's a lot easier on you. So get that in. Keep reminding your players. Same thing. Your goal should be after your first practice, let's say November 4th, if they've not completed family ID, see you later. Come back tomorrow. Don't let them practice. Same thing. You're not practicing until family ID is completed. Just go ahead and let them know. It's not difficult. They got to take time to do it. Coaching requirements, CPR, rules clinic, concussion fundamentals. I think everybody's really good on the fundamentals. I think we've got all our rules clinic done from the original fall sports. They hadn't sent me anything about the spring and I guess you could say winter sports yet. So when I get that information, I'll send it to you. I don't know if they've opened it up yet. But, it takes you maybe 20 minutes to watch that little video. CPR. I'll go ahead and jump to that. CPR, if you are due for CPR next Wednesday at 10 o'clock, probably in the cafeteria, Dr. Yarshevsky is going to do the hands-on part. So what do you have to do? You have to bring the sheet saying you've done the online class. He's not going to let you do the hands-on section until you complete or you come show him that certificate. I got it. I just forgot to bring it. See you later. So make sure you bring that sheet of paper so we can go ahead and knock that out. Okay? And I'm going to remind you. Next Wednesday, 10 o'clock, you'll be in the cafeteria. We'll knock it out. You're done for 2 more years. There's a lot of you got to get it. There's a lot of I've got to get it myself. There's some of you good for another year. So you ain't got to worry about it. Okay? If you want to go ahead and do it now, be good for 2 more years, that's up to you. The CPR. Bystanders, kind of jumping around. Bystanders on the field. When you get your coaching staff, volunteers, paid, unpaid, coaching staff, everybody's going to want to start being around athletics, hopefully. People are itching to get back. People are seeing what's going on. They want to see their kids playing. They're ready to get back to normalcy. Probably the best example I see, you got some of these coaches who think they're a coach, but they ain't a coach. And they want to be on the sideline, and they want to look at me. I'm here now. Or look at me. I used to play for Clinton High School, and I'm over here on the sidelines. No. In the stands. Just like everybody else. So you ain't got bystanders. You got your staff. You got your head coaches. You got your assistant coaches. Maybe a couple volunteers. Maybe a manager. These people on the sidelines at the games, you need to say, see you later. So you need to get that information to them because for some reason, during a football game, one of my soccer games, a basketball games, they're acting, who are you? Why are you over here? Well, I don't care who you are, in the stands, okay, if they're not part of your staff, if that makes sense, okay? So that happens a lot, and we got to stop doing that, especially with this time of what's going on in our life. So no bystanders if they ain't got nothing to do with Clinton High School athletics. Dead periods. This is going to be very confusing to me, and guess what? Coach Spell may forget about these things. But dead periods, you've got 3-day dead periods through every sport. So when volleyball and cross country starts, nobody can do nothing for 3 days. November 4th, 5th, 6th. You can't do anything. When basketball starts December 7th, you can't do nothing. Nobody can do anything for 3 days. No, because you're in season. Yeah. If you're still in season, you're good. Yeah, good question. So that confuses me too.
It's when all the seasons start?
Yes. So if you're not in season, and they're starting a season, you can't be doing nothing that day. So you're going to have a lot of weaving and crazy this time. So be prepared for that. I'll send out 7 more emails on that. Coaches pay. Remember, some of you, for example, got paid in August for your fall sports, and then I sent out a form to you guys when you'll get paid again. So just know that you're not going to see a September. Well, I didn't get paid in September. Remember that form, okay? Remember that form. It shows you when you do your sport, you should get paid 2 more months, okay? When that starts, whatever those months are on that email that I sent to you. And if you need another one, let me know to see when you do get paid. Now, the sad thing is, if something happens and you don't play this year, there's Dr. Johnson said he's still gonna pay us 3 times the amount. So you may not get paid. Just kind of letting you know. Budget. The budget. Guess what? There's no money coming in. There can't be no money coming out. So you got to understand, hey, I need this, I need that. Be prepared to buckle down and figure it out. And there's no fundraising really. There is, but I'll go over that in a second. But don't expect spring sports especially to get anything, because y'all had 2 games last year. Y'all should have everything you need. There shouldn't be an issue. Basketball, I know that a lot of people have been asking me about the huddle accounts. I ain't giving no money out for a huddle account till I know we're gonna play. I mean, people they need their money too. They're probably hurting, so they're trying to give you all these crazy deals and stuff. But I don't have it one for my soccer. I probably ain't gonna use one this year. I'm just going to go old school. I'll get to you in a second. I know what you're going to ask. So you got to be patient. There's nothing coming in. So you can't say, hey, I need to get this and I need to get that. There's nothing coming in. And the sad thing is, nobody knows what kind of attendance we're going to have. They may say 30% this year. They may say 50% if we're lucky. I don't see 100% happening. So that means you ain't going to get the money that we've got in the past. And if you're not getting the money this year we got in the past, that's going to also flow over to next year. So understand that. Fall sports budget may drop next year because of this. So there's nothing I can do about it. If something arises and something happens, remember, I got to pay for catastrophic insurance. I got to pay for membership dues. I got to pay for the officials. I've got to pay for painting a field. We got to pay for field maintenance. I know there's some other things that I'm missing. Security. I just don't come up in the air. So understand that. You got to be patient. And we'll go get through it. And we're probably in a better position than a lot of schools. I can see a lot of schools, because if you don't have attendance in the stands for high school, it's extremely, if not impossible, for programs to work. I mean, football is the bread and butter, which makes a lot of our sports, and then basketballs too. I mean, it helps our other programs that sometimes, don't have that money coming in. But it's tough. So just letting you know, the budget's froze right now. It could change 2 weeks from now. It could change a month from now. It might be froze for the whole year. It might be froze till next December of 2021. So just be prepared for that and understand that. With our $6,000 BSN agreement, I got y'all coaching shirts coming. That's an agreement we work with them that I can use for only attire for our coaches. So I'll definitely, we need a coaching shirt, well, I'll have you 2. I think I'm a long sleeve because it's going to be cold playing this year if you're outside. And I think I got something else for you if I can remember. I can't remember what it is, but that's something. But just letting you know, I've got to be smart with all my teams, and I've got to help all my teams, not just one, and space that money around the correct way. Just letting you know. Sharing athletes, this is a big one. This might be a question you want to ask me later on. But sharing athletes, I know you've looked at the schedules and everything, and they overlap like crazy. For example, my son plays soccer, and he wants to possibly play basketball if he's able to make it. Well, wow. I mean, it's like a month and a half overlap. So this is a year you can't you cannot, we're not going to be, it ain't you can't, we are not going to be or have the attitude that, hey, you got to, no, my sport's number one, you can't miss my practice. If an athlete this year wants to do both and they're capable of doing both, you've got to let them. You're going to have to let them. You're going to have to work together with the other coach and find out a system. My suggestion, and I've been brainstorming this one, they kind of need a main sport. Let's say their main sport, I'm trying to think. I have a good one, good example. Let's say their main sport is women's soccer. That's their main sport. But they can play golf too. Well, when they've got a main sport game, they play soccer. They can't go to golf practice. Does that make sense? Because their main sport's soccer. That's how we need to tell our athletes and our parents. Well, we got a golf match on Monday. They don't have any soccer matches on Monday. Coach should say, go play golf. Have fun. He's going to miss his practice. And you might be, missing my practice. I understand that. But this is different times. This is different times. And we're going to have to, if we don't want to hurt the kids. So we need to help our kids out. If they're able to play two sports, if they can run cross country and play a volleyball game somehow, let them do it. Let them do it. But they need to maybe communicate with you, hey, which one's your main one? Because you got a volleyball match and you got a cross country match on the same day. Well, Coach, my main was volleyball. Well, you need to go to volleyball. Does that make sense? That's big thing with that is communication. And that's going to be my job to let the parents know that on my video I'll send out. And that's going to be my job to let the players know. And I'm letting you know right now, we got to work together on that to make Clinton High School the best. And sometimes it might rub you and make you feel weird and rub you the wrong way and feel like, oh, this is hurting my team, hurting my program. I understand. But we've got to share our athletes this year. That's a must. And I've talked to several ADs in other schools, and they're kind of in the same similarities with that, especially 1A, 2A schools, because it hurts us probably the most. Gates, big one right here. Let's say we do have a 30% attendance or 50% attendance to our games. In a nice way, we have got to have your help with Gates this year. Not during your season. Not during your season. You need to pick 3 games where you can be a gatekeeper with money or be a temperature checker to help us out. And because that's difficult. It's difficult to find people. And once again, it goes back to that saying, hey, I ain't got time. I got to do this. Everybody's busy, guys. Find you a time to help us out, help Clinton High School out, help Miss Kirkland out, help myself out, help Coach Brewer out. Well, we ain't scrambling and looking for people for a game. I mean, it might be an hour and a half. Bye, see you later. But we're going to need your help this year more than ever with gate duty because we're going to have temperature checks and the yes and no questions and making sure things are done the correct way with the protocol and people coming in. So I don't expect you to help during your season. No. No. If you got football season, you don't need to be doing it. You got basketball season, you don't need to be doing it. But if it's not your season, go help a baseball game, please. Go help a softball game, please. Don't be the person, I ain't doing it. Please, we got to have you help. And, that's going to be faculty, too, at Clinton High School. Please. It might be, hey, I'm going to run the clock at the basketball game. Okay? Need your help. It's tough. I've already went over CPR. JV sports. As of right now, that's an LEA decision. Looks good. But once again, got to pay for the officials. And we could be fine, and then we're on our 4th game of the season. We're about to go to James Keenan and play them in soccer, JV and varsity. Oh, we don't have JV no more, Coach. We can't afford it. That can happen this year. You might be ready to play your 2nd time playing Wallace in basketball, JV. We had to drop it, Coach. Be prepared for that to happen this year because they can't afford the bills. Or 3 or 4 people grade-wise, or 2 or 3 people have got COVID or whatever case may be. Be prepared for that to happen. But JV right now is fine. Once again, that's probably the most difficult to find those games. But instead of 12, 14 games, if they're getting 8 or 10, that's pretty daggone good. Okay, for this year, if that makes sense. And I'm still looking. I ain't gonna stop looking. I'm gonna look throughout the season while you're playing, if I can find you a game. Traveling. Dr. Johnson, you might can help me with this. Do you know how many people we can get on the bus now? Is there like a number, like an activity bus? Somebody told me 22 yesterday. 24. Is that activity included? Is that the same?
I would assume an activity bus have the same amount of seats. I'm not sure.
So 24 on a bus. Now, in the past, I've took my JV and varsity together. I take 42 plus the coaches because you can get 42 out of a 48 passenger bus. Right now, I got to take 2 buses. There ain't no buses because there's a so-and-so game going on here and this is going on here. Football might have to take, what do y'all take, 3 usually for varsity? There might be 4. I don't know. So what I'm telling you about that, and that number may change. It may go up to 35 in a month. But right now it's 24, so buses can come into a lot of conflict. That's something me and Coach Brewer really, is going to take care of. So the buses, just be prepared for that. It might be a situation. We were talking today about when you pick your teams. You don't need 15 on a basketball team this year, maybe at home. Well, we're only taking 11 away games. Got a traveling team because we can't get them on the bus. Be prepared for it. That could happen. Just to understand that. I'm just throwing things at you that you ain't even thought about. So you might have a traveling team with basketball, but all home games are here. They're here. They're fine if you go keep 15. So you don't need 8 managers that ain't going to do nothing. If you go get managers, 2, and if they ain't doing nothing, they ain't managers no more. So they got a job to do, to clean your bus, to get the water ready, to get the towels ready, not to sit there and talk and socialize and say, I'm just going to a game so I can go see my girlfriend at this school. You got to have managers that are really want to do it. Really good managers, if you go get them. And I say 2 is all you need. And away games, you might not have, they can't go. So you can save 2 more spots for players. Just kind of letting you know with that traveling situation. I just went over the capacity, 30 to 50%. I gave you a sample of it on that second sheet. This is 100% mandatory. And you can start doing that now. Even that person might not be on your team. Well, there's nothing wrong if you put them on a master eligibility sheet now. Or they get cut, or their grades find out they ain't no good, you already got them on there. So you can have, if you got a basketball team, you can put 25